Morning, everyone. Welcome to Talking Horses. Anthony Stabile and Andy Serling. As we close out another weekend, the holiday weekend here, 3 stakes, and assuming the weather holds up, it looks possible but not certain. Their last 2 turf races of the year.
Yeah, the bulk of the rain's supposed to come mid-afternoon, but hopefully we can hold them off and get the grass in. Remember one of the Red Smith used to be our last turf stakes race of the year.
Okay, I don't, but
No?
I'll take your word for it.
Oh yeah, this will be the last turf stakes of the year.
Anyway, looking forward to the card today. We are, as of you now, fast and firm. I know they have the track sealed right now. Hard to know exactly when the rain is going to start. Looks like the bulk of the worst will be later, the end of the day at the worst. We'll see. Race number 1, of course, we'll get to that. You have to get to NYRA Bets. Head on over to NYRA Bets, use the promo code MATCH200. We'll match the $200 of your initial deposit. NYRABets.com. We have middle pick 4. That'll start race 3 of our 9 race card today. 9 races on today's card. Scar Mile Challenge. That card should be a 10 race card. That'll be next Saturday. $3,000 buy-in, all cash prizes. Plus, we'll seed the pool with $5,000. Go over to NYRA.com/contest. Probably have until Friday to sign up, but you want to check out over there. You can play online. You can also play on track. Come out and join us. It's supposed to be a nice weekend, actually. Next weekend weather's supposed to be nice. In the 50s, and no rain is
Toys
expected.
for Tots
actually.
on Saturday and
That's
Sunday
right.
as
Thank
well.
you for that.
Yeah.
Toys and Tots. So if you come by, either you want to bring some cash to donate.
Yes.
Or
And today's the last day of a promotion we have at NYRA Bets. If you bet $500 over the course of Thursday to Sunday, so obviously your last chance, you'll get $50 in your accounts, win or lose. 500 over the last 4 days, win or lose. You will any track. You'll
Including
get $50
us?
everywhere.
How did I not know that?
I don't know.
Oh, I would have already gotten that.
You'll get $50.
I don't think I'm going to be betting 500 in today's card, so too late for that. Oh, good one. Is that just this week?
It was just Thursday through Saturday. It was a Thanksgiving promotion, yes.
Thursday through Sunday.
Thursday through Sunday, yeah.
Okay. On America's Day, the race is 12 to 6:30. Churchill Downs. Doesn't matter how many races they run. They start at 1. Race number 1 here. I think you and I have the same horse picked. Why don't you tell us why you like the 7 Bustin' Hot?
Went to Bustin' Hot in here. Second time for Linda Rice. This horse gets a pair of blinkers. Ordinarily, they show a little bit more forward. I don't want to say speed, but they're a little bit more forward that second time out. And I was hoping just a combination of that. You don't have Vax anywhere. I almost did the same thing you did with Vax. I kind of get it.
We'll get to Vax.
Yeah. But that was it, second time, Linda. This is a dirt one. You've kind of taught me to stay away from the turf ones, which I'm trying to do. This is a dirt one. The blinkers on. Now, I only have the overall numbers. They're not great. The ROI is awful.
Okay.
But
Well, without looking up with maidens and second-time stars, I'm not sure it's.
I'm sorry?
Without looking up for maiden second-time stars, I'm not sure we care, do we? This horse has speed. I don't think it's expected to show more speed. This horse has a lot of speed. This horse was right on the pace for the first eighth of a mile and was basically dragged off the pace. This horse is not slow at all. I'll be very surprised if this horse is not very significantly forward in this race. So I expect this horse to be very forward, if not in front here. And I'd like to see him be aggressive. This is not a slow horse. This horse, if you watch the replay, we'll see has speed and was sort of taken out of the race, but probably did need that race. And blinkers on, probably an indication. The horse will probably have more speed. As far as backs, you have second, I have nowhere. Take a look at her last race. I just feel like she's coming out of a terrible field. I did not like the race she was coming out. I thought there were just so many more interesting horses in here, be they first-time starters. Obviously, Linda's horse, the 2 Red Butterfly, who we'll get to in a middle. I mean, even Starry Midnight, the horse in the rail, there's pedigree there. The 3 of the 6 foals were pretty good. They were in figures in the 70s and 80s. I even thought Rudy's horse, Queens Over 3s, was dangerous. Significant rider upgrade to Jose Gomez. You're going from a rider that's 0 for 100 plus to a rider who's probably should be the favorite to win the Eclipse Award as the top apprentice. I think this horse could have some speed as well. So I think this horse is pretty interesting here. This horse actually did a little running last time out.
Queens Over 3 you're talking about.
Yeah, I thought that horse was kind of dangerous in here. As far as Red Butterfly, who I have second, you have fourth. We'll take a look at the horse's first race where he finished second in the turf. This horse is really, you know, it's probably more of a dirt pedigree. What's interesting is this is the first time this horse, the dam has been bred to somebody that's not a strong turf influence. Not that Munnings can't run on the turf, but Munnings also can handle the dirt, obviously, very,
but not
very
a predominant,
well.
not a dominant turf sire.
The first The first two sires were turf horses. So I think it's kind of interesting, and maybe this horse should have been on the dirt all along. We'll see how that plays out. 7-2 for me. They're the two I want, a little 6 behind them. Race number 2. I'm going to tell you something right now. Unless all of the people that like to overbet, as we switch to race number 2, Irad Ortiz went completely broke yesterday, which seems to be a possibility. I've never seen a rider that's is completely overbet.
It's crazy.
In a great colony of riders, and no doubt Irad's a tremendous rider, but you know, it's like he's taking over a horse from somebody who's a top tier rider and gave a horse a perfect ride, and the horse is 1.5 points lower than it should be. And if you don't realize how stupid that is, you know, the idea that he was heavily favored, was it the second race, that ridiculous turf horse in that race, and he was favored over the winner, Patient Capital, who should have been 6-5. It's just amazing the way people are overbetting them. I'm going to have to say I'll be very surprised if David's line is correct and you're getting 4-1 on Reigning Chick. I don't love Reigning Chick. I've got her second, but her race 2 back with a 62 buyer, I mean, dropping down, how is she not, if not favored, close? I thought it would be very close at the very least.
She's so unreliable, Andy.
I don't love her. I'm not saying that, but Irad Ortiz
I'm thinking that's why David did
4-1? She can't be 4-1. I don't think Irad's allowed to be 4-1. I think Irad could be riding a goat out there and he'd be like 7-2 or less. I mean, I actually almost feel bad for Irad going out there and riding with these horses. He must think like, you know, like it's not my fault I just lost at 7-5 on a horse that should have been 4-1. It's crazy. I mean, it's crazy how they're overbetting them. I mean, I thought Photon would probably win, but how about 1-2 on Photon?
I thought you were making too big a deal of it. And then I started really paying attention to it. I think it's worse here.
It's unbelievable.
I think it's worse.
What do you think, it's the winter? It's not the winter.
Photon was 1-2 yesterday.
1-2 Photon. I'm not saying she wasn't the likeliest winner, and she probably should have been even money in there.
She's 65% to win the race.
I didn't like the winner of the race at all. But she should never have been 48-1. I mean, she's got
the duck fat race. Yeah, but
she's running figures as fast as the third horse.
She's 1-2, so
right. But she should have.
She should have 15 points on that price.
More than 15. She should have been 20 at most. She probably should have been closer to 15-1 the winner that way.
And she kind of played that way, right?
If you took out her turf races, she's running 58 buyers in the dirt, which is the same kind of numbers as Bavarian Cream was running. How about her not hitting the exacta? Anyway, I'm not loving that horse. I just have a tough time believing that she's not going to be, if not favored, at least very close to favoritism here. We'll see. Maybe not. I was just surprised. So I don't like the horse that you have on top at all.
I didn't really prefer the race. I just thought her last race off the claim was pretty good.
It was?
I thought it was. Relative to this bunch. I mean, at the very least, her last 3 starts since she was on the turf, they've been consistent enough. They might not be great, but they've been consistent enough where you're taking on a horse in Reigning Chick who just doesn't consistently show up. Run Devil hasn't run in 2 years, the number 4. I don't know.
Well, wouldn't you make the argument that less distance is better for Reigning Chick? The argument of Reigning Chick is you look at her, the 2 best races she's run have been 7 furlong. Now, she did get that fake 73 riding a gold rail in Busan, but I think Reigning Chick's the horse to beat in this race. I actually think she should be favored here, but I'm going to try to beat her. Listen, I think otherwise, I'm nervous now as a new face to this crew. I mean, she just lost to Spooky Road, who came back and beat some pretty nice horses the other day. I know Run Devil is off a 2.5-year layoff, but I'd even throw her in coming back, to be honest with you. I've seen enough of Wicked Lady. I thought she was awful last time, absolutely awful. Now, maybe her awful last time is good enough to be a factor here. I like Rigby. I'm not so sure they didn't give up on Rigby on the dirt a little bit quickly. I don't think she ran particularly well in watching her return race in the dirt. And that was a fair track. I don't think that she was really, you know, that she was compromised at all that day. But she lost to November Rain. I mean, those are, Can't Hurry Love was a distant third in that race. Those are some legitimate dirt horses. And relative to what she's running against, I just think Rigby may have found herself in the right field. And you know, I don't really like these kind of horses to make these moves. And the truth is her form had been kind of mediocre, though she didn't run that badly last time out. Actually trying to go long, she ran surprisingly well. But having said that, I just wonder if maybe she's the right new face, and I'm not sure that she should have gone right to the turf right away anyway. I mean, she just ran against real horses the first time she ran on the dirt. So give her a chance. I mean, I don't love these turfers usually, but I thought she might be a horse that probably should give him another chance in the dirt. The 6th race, I imagine, will be one of the shortest prices on the card. And the number 6 horse, Today's Flavor. If
Third race.
Third race, excuse me, thank you. If you haven't seen the start of Today's Flavor's last race, I mean, that was a complete disaster for the horse. And this is a horse that just towers over the field and is an extraordinarily likely winner. I'm not betting against this horse. She should be around 1 or 2 to 5, and I think she probably should be 1 or 2 to 5. I mean, she broke 5-6 lengths behind the field and lost all chance.
Yeah, this was pretty remarkable. This is the race where he and Ocean's Reserve were kind of in the same ballpark in price, and the Bond first-time starter was able to get the job done. Does it bother you this horse has been gone 2 months? No. Bothers me a little bit. This horse has been gone 2 months after being gone for 10 months. I don't know.
What do you think again?
So my man Matty, there's been rumors about my man Matty for close to a year now. That the horse.
So you're worried about a horse that's been gone 2 months. And you're taking a horse that's about to turn 5,
3 times the price,
making his debut.
So it was a half the Cupid's Heart, who's done some good sprinting. She's actually a 3-year-old. He's 4. She was the first foal to race. He was the first foal out of the mare. And yeah, he can run. We'll see what happens with Today's Flavor. I don't like all the layoffs of Today's Flavor. I know what you're saying about that. The difference is one.
So this is a tip.
Yeah, this horse has been a tip for a while too.
Tip for a while. Yeah. So it's been a tip for a while. So you're worried about 2 months between the 6's last race, but you're not worried about the tip for a while.
I'm going to say it again. Horse is going to be 1 to 2. The horse reared at the break last time after a 10-month layoff.
Okay.
And it's the second layoff.
Rearing at the break usually happens in pairs.
I'm saying the horse was gone for 10 months. He had never done it before, and he did it. And now he's gone another 2 months.
And we're going to bet a 4-year-old firster debuting on November 27th. Okay.
At 3 times the price, yes.
Okay. You can keep saying it, but you're still betting a horse that's a 4-year-old debuting in November. You're worried about time? Okay, we'll see what happens. Race number 4 coming up. Race number 4 is a strange race. I really didn't know exactly what to do in here. And at the end of the day, we showed beachfront bids last time. You know something? Maybe this horse that was kind of a fraud in the turf was on the wrong surface all along. I know it was a 4-horse field last time. I don't think he rode some sort of big bias advantage. He just ran last time. Nice win of the stake for Tommy Albertrani last time. And the more I looked at the race, you've got Rambique, who's got absolutely no speed. Not impossible, but has no speed. You've got Timeless Journey, who could be okay on the dirt, but I do think it's reasonable to ask whether or not he's a horse that wants to run on a dry dirt track. And you've got Tuati, who is the horse to beat, but he seems to run.
She just doesn't win.
On occasion, she seems to run okay. More often than not, 2 out of every 3 or 4 races, she runs like garbage, and then she runs well. And I think she's probably the horse to beat. But I'm not so sure the beachfront bid might just not be the one you want, that she might be the actual dirt horse.
Run away from these horses, too. You
She's
painted the right picture.
I want to be forward because the other speed is Sweet Surprise. I think she's got to be forward with Irad, and I don't want to take a horse like the rest of them, frankly, are a bit pace compromised in here. I think Tuati will be close enough. I think she's the horse. I get it with Timeless Journey, but I don't know. I'm not really sure what to do with her.
I'm just hoping that Sweet Surprise puts enough pressure on Timeless on beachfront bid. You know, beachfront bid, that was the second dirt race. I would like to see it again. I know she ran against some nice fillies the first time she ran on the dirt.
No, I'm not in love with her, but I just didn't want the others.
That's fine. No, I understand that.
Well,
listen, it's very hard to love any of the 3 favorites.
Well, you picked Timeless Journey, so tell us why.
Yeah, I mean, she's run twice on the dirt. She caught a couple of wet tracks. Maybe there'll be some moisture in the track. The video's gone, by the way.
Tuati, video's gone?
It was up for about 4 seconds.
Okay. You don't have to show
She ran Wasp down. Wasp was a short price the first time. Then she ran against Bankstain and Mrs. Orb. I mean, I want to give her one chance on a dry dirt track.
Why would you want a turf horse on a dry dirt track? I would think, if anything, you'd want her on the mud. Well, I can understand thinking it is the 4th race. Post time is around 2 o'clock. There is a reasonable chance there will be some moisture in the track, and that could help her. I get that thinking. I'm not sure why she suddenly is but I won't be shocked if she wins here.
Well, I'll give her a chance on the dirt.
Race number 5. Boy, is form at a premium in this race. We'll take a look at the only horse that's ever run competitively in a race, and that was on the turf, and that's Bobby the Tank. September 4th at Saratoga, finishing a good third. They tried to stretch out. Not surprisingly, the horse didn't want to go long on the turf. And like the others, they're just giving up. But the thing is, this horse cost $65,000 in a
Right.
2-year-old sale. You know, it's not like they paid a fortune. I mean, even Sound Spooky, they only paid $100,000 for that horse. So it's not like these are super expensive horses. At this point, Bobby the Tank is who he is. He's not going to do anything serious, appears in a turf race. And they're just kind of giving up and dumping here, trying in the dirt. And frankly, his first race in the dirt, he didn't run great, but he didn't run terribly.
No, he didn't run terrible.
You know, so
He
I'll
wasn't
take
terrible.
him. But I know it'll be a short price. But
Yeah, I just took Sound Spooky took money into Arctic Arrogance and Fresh Gelding. I just took the other one.
this horse did no running though.
Yeah.
It's got IRAD. See, I don't think there'll be that big a discrepancy in the prices when you've got a Todd drop down and IRAD in the other one. I'm not sure David's taking into account how much money IRAD's taking in these races. I really don't. I think he's taking some account. I'm not sure if he's taking as much, unless it just suddenly stops. Everybody went broke yesterday.
And the horse with the pedigree in here is Screen Door. Half the filibuster and Senbei, and I mean this horse isn't taking I guess this horse took a little
Who?
money the
Screen
first
Door.
time. Yeah, took a little money first time out. Didn't take a dime second time. Didn't run a step in either race. Blinkers and dropping. Who knows?
Well, the horse did run against real horses
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
in his races. So, I mean, you would think a Union Rags would want more distance. So I don't think he's impossible in here. You don't have him anywhere?
No, I probably slept that.
Yeah,
I probably
mean, he's
slept
the, you know, I considered putting him in the middle there. I thought he was the interesting horse in here. Interestingly enough, there's some dirt pedigree of Metamorphoses, but the fact that Bruce ran this horse in the turf, probably not a great sign, but didn't think the horse was totally impossible. What I missed with D Speedster.
Just a little bit more ground. I don't know.
Comes out of a dreadful field.
I know.
This horse comes out of an absolutely awful race. And for what it's worth, MCRR came back and ran 17 buyer points worse in a subsequent race. To me, he hasn't demonstrated any ability to run. I'll take the logicals here, and I'll use Screen Door at a bit of a price. That's the first 4. The back of the late pick 4 in just a moment.
For almost 150 years, the Saratoga name has been synonymous with the finest quality, sustainably sourced spring water available anywhere. Saratoga carries on the rich tradition of its forefathers by crafting each stunning blue glass bottle with the same attention to detail and care that has been its hallmark for generations. Visit SaratogaSpringwater.com today or ask for us by name at your local market or restaurant. Saratoga Spring Water. Make every day exquisite.
Mind.
We're having a very heated
Very
discussion
important
up here
discussion.
about
Heated and important.
when the championship meet.
The
Championship meets. Just so you guys know, we consider this entire winter the Aqueduct Winter Championship meet.
We're all champions at
Well,
the Big A.
as I recall,
What are you going to say now?
no, I'm just thinking, who won the Derby last year? Oh, Rich Strike. Okay. So of the
Rich Strike.
Triple Crown winners,
Triple Crown race winners.
race winners. 2 of them had their final prep at Aqueduct.
Yep.
1 of them ran here all winter.
Yep.
1 of them made 1 start at Gulfstream before making a start here, so they were equal. And Rich Strike, as I recall, didn't run here at all. So we had more on that. Now, champions. How many champions did race at Aqueduct?
In life,
No, I mean this year.
Nest.
Nest. Well, in fairness, Nest didn't run until later, but but only ran because we moved from Belmont. So let's be fair. She ran here last year.
Oh, you mean this year?
Yeah.
Oh, gotcha. Okay.
Well, Nest did run at Gulfstream.
Nest counts, man.
She ran at Gulfstream. No, the Belledane doesn't count.
Nest didn't run at Gulfstream. Nest ran at Tampa, and Nest ran at the Ashland.
You're correct.
Nest did not run at Gulfstream.
She ran in the Tempton, the Demoiselle.
Yes.
but she didn't run. Okay, but yes, she's had more starts. Who else? We got some time.
Yeah, we do have some time.
The Colts won't matter unless Tabor ran here and you and I were out that day. But I guess Epicenter will probably win.
Yeah.
Why is Cyberknife deep in the discussion? Tell you what, if Jack Christopher had run the sprint and won it, would he have been the 3-year-old champ?
He probably would have got my vote.
I think he probably would have been the 3-year-old champ.
If he would have ran and beat all
Obviously,
the
it's
horses,
unfortunate, extremely unfortunate what happened with Epicenter, to say the least. Man, I'm really just sorry we didn't get to see what he could do and see him next year.
Of course.
I'm glad he's okay, most importantly. But who else? Goodnight Olive will win. She didn't run.
She didn't run,
either
yeah.
one. She didn't run until
Oh,
Belmont.
wait a minute. Did she run an allowance race here?
I thought she didn't run until Belmont, Ant.
May. Maybe. You might be right.
Yeah, I could be wrong. Oh, I
I
don't
think she ran in April.
I wasn't in the day she
Where's
won.
Steve?
Yeah,
Maybe Steve knows.
Oh, yeah.
Ask Steve.
No, he's watching, so we don't have to ask. What about the Colt sprinter?
Who's it going to be?
I guess it's going to be the horse who won the Breeders' Cup, Lee Power, who only ran here because we were at Belmont at Aqueduct.
Yeah, but we were still here. They ran at
No,
Aqueduct.
but I know, but
Not the meet. There's a meet
Belmont
discussion.
at Aqueduct. You know what I mean?
Belmont at the Big A.
Yeah, it's like,
Please, Andy. It's back, Andy. It's going to be back next
Turf
year.
Fillies. I got to think Italia is going to win, right? Over Regal Glory.
Yeah. Not going to give it to Tuesday off the one race, right?
No.
Right. You gotta get an
War
Italian.
Goddess. If War Goddess had won the turf.
Yeah.
Interesting. What else are we looking at? 2-year-olds can't really measure. 2-year-olds. Oh, here's Steve. No, that's not. It's not Steve.
Maybe it's somebody who has
Maybe
good
Steve has something to
information.
do today. All right, let's get back to work.
Okay.
Race number 6. It's an interesting discussion, though, actually.
It is.
The Winter Aqueduct Championship meet. Aqueduct Winter Championship meet.
It's not underway yet.
We'll look at Alluring Agent and Private Credit. I'm looking at the debut that Alluring Agent won because Private Credit finished 3rd.
Okay.
I'll tell you what I like about Private Credit.
What do you like about private credit, Andy?
I want horses like the 1 and 4 that are going to be forwarded here.
Mm-hmm.
Because what I saw on the turf courses, horses are not making up a lot
Nobody's
of
moving.
ground
No,
in
they're
these
not moving.
races. I mean, I know they made up ground in Long Island, but that was sort of a ridiculous situation. In general, we're just not seeing much movement in these races. And so I've just decided, I don't have any strong opinions. I want to have horses that are forward. So that's why I prefer Private Credit. I have no argument against Alluring Angel. I think if I trusted this as a fair turf course and a fairly run race, I think Alluring Angel's way the horse to beat.
Couldn't agree with you
she's
more.
pretty good. I mean,
couldn't agree with
I
you
thought
more.
she ran well in the Miss Grillo, another race where there was no movement in the race. I just want the horse that's more forward. And, you know, the fact that you're not picking a Karvich horse at all, I think it's nice that you're going to finally allow them to win a race. You know, like this horse? I mean, I know this horse
I do.
arguably did more running in the Alluring Angel race because this horse was forward in there, and
Yeah.
that's a race that fell apart. That was a fast pace.
I wanted the. Honestly, I know there are 4 choices, but I had a hard time separating the 4 of them because I don't know how it's going to shake out early. I don't know if a route's going to come blasting out of there with private credit.
Well,
I
I'm
don't
not saying it's going to.
Yeah, but you want to get to the try and get to the
I'm
top.
not, no, I don't. I just want to be forward.
Oh,
I
I
think
wanna
that
get
the
to- I
one can
would
be
like to get to
forward.
the
I think
top.
the 730 though Kelvin could be in front. I just want to be forward in the race. But you know, and Sweet Lou's Got Aces could be forward here. And don't forget, they entered this horse against the boys, and we'll take a look at the race last time. This horse, a maiden. That race came up crazy fast, and they put an enormous amount of distance between themselves and the 3rd horse. And that race is fast on buyer figures. It's fast on Timeform US figures. I know it was 6 furlongs. It's a Constitution. I think this horse could be very, very dangerous in here. The problem is, where did this come from? Where did this enormous improvement come from?
When it was cutting back,
I understand, but where did this horse
she just
come from?
and you don't see this a lot in the turf maiden races. They beat the rest of them by a half
No,
a
I'm
dozen
saying
lengths.
this was a very, very fast
Fast
race,
race, yeah.
whatever you look at. And I'm not against this horse at all.
She gets a bunch of post relief, 10-hole, 8-hole, 9-hole. Now she draws the rail, which has been the greatest place to be here at the Big A.
How's Smoky Eyes competitive here? She
You
can't make the
got
lead.
a 4. I want all the horses that are going to be forward, and she's going to be the best price of the horses. So
not
I
a
put her
speed.
second.
In this race, I think she has speed. I didn't, but okay. Yeah, we'll see. I'll use the 1, 4, and 9. They look like the right 3 to me. If the race comes off the turf, and it does feel like Chad Brown has a pretty strong hand off the turf, we'll take a look at Interpolate if this race should come off. Thought she ran okay in both of her races, actually. And Royal Poppy, I think, benefited from being on a rail that was pretty good. She was off it. She looks like she's okay. I'm not saying she's going to turn out to be a superstar, but I thought she was okay.
Yeah, she was fine. She got beaten just 3 lengths for second in the Chocolate Gelato race. She, of course, a Grade 1 winner. Came back, and, I mean, she was a kind of easy maiden winner. Yeah, I mean, she made sense.
And we'll go right to the replay of the other Chad Brown horse, Shittabooty.
Shittabooty.
Shittabooty. Sounds like a Frank Zappa song album or something. Shittabooty. Shake Your Booty.
I thought I'm looking it up. I thought we were going right to the replay.
Well, we can go right to the replay. You can look it up. By the way, Goodnight Oliver in June 23rd at Belmont.
Wow.
It was only 2 months in the meet, so I can understand why you were confused. Source made some run up the inside. It did seem like the inside was fine at Monmouth, so I don't think the horse was against the track. I don't think it was a gold rail or anything. But this horse made some run up the inside and won impressively, but did win impressively in a slow race. But I don't want to discount this horse. And I think these are the 2 horses. I don't think, do you disagree? I picked a 13-14 if it's on the dirt.
13, yeah, oh yeah, well, I forgot how numbers went up. Yeah, 13, 14, 11, 7, I picked.
Yeah, I went 13, 14, 11, 3. Classy one.
How about this one? You ready for this one, Andy? I got nothing on Shittabooty for you. The first thing that comes up is her profile.
Maybe it's a made-up word. Race number 7.
I don't know.
Race
Wow.
number 7 is Discovery. And why do you like the? We'll hold off on the replay for a minute. Why do you like Discovery? Why do you like Parisi?
I don't like Discovering. I like Parisi in here. Back to the 3-year-olds. I thought he ran really well behind Dr. Blute last time. He did not have the best of beginnings. That bothers me because he is a horse that has, on a couple of times, not gotten away from there as cleanly as I would like.
How many? When?
Well, the race in when he won the first stakes, the Regal Park, he didn't break that well either.
That was 7 races ago.
Yeah, I understand that, but I just don't like the fact that that it's happened a couple of times.
Really?
Yeah, I'm not a fan of that.
Nuts, but
I don't like when they do that because there's a randomness to it. Like you said, that he's going to be the best prices of the horses I think can win.
Okay.
And I think I don't think at first I thought he was going to have some trouble with distance. I think that the distance has actually become his friend.
Yeah, I wanted to show his last race. We'll show the first quarter mile of it, and then we'll show the last quarter mile of it. Yeah, he just broke a little slow and he got bounced. And the problem is that the race was dominated up front. This was another race that had plenty of speed signed on, and Dr. Blute was allowed to waltz around the racetrack. And also, this was a track that had a real edge to speed. So he was compromised. You can see how far back he is here. And Manny Franco was forced to rush him up to get him in position. I thought Manny gave him a good ride when you consider the way the race played out. But to have to rush him to get position, the fact that he continued to keep grinding it out, and he was against the flow of the race, I thought he ran very, very well in here. You can say it was older horses, but aren't those all 3-year-olds he ran against? I don't think it really mattered. There was an olders. I think going to 3-year-olds this is a tougher field than the one he faced last time out, or potentially a tougher field. I just thought he ran well, considering the way the race played out. It's just a race that was never in his wheelhouse, and he was always playing catch-up. So I thought he ran fairly well. I'm not sure what to do with St. Tappet.
Me either.
And we'll take a look at St. Tappet's race last time out. And I'm kind of wondering if he really wants a mile and an eighth.
There was a huge push on this horse first time. He ran to it. He wasn't even favored when he debuted. Then he came back and got the job done on Whitney Day when we got the weather. And it has not been good since.
No, this race, I mean, Trademark and Actuator will be the first 2 choices in the off-the-turf stake at Churchill later today. But he made his run against Trademark, and maybe he kind of broke his heart a little bit. He may well have run the second best race here. But to me, he's not finishing like a horse that's relishing more distance.
No, he's not.
And
he's absolutely not. He's losing ground at the end
I
of his
wonder about
2
some of these
turn
horses that disappoint. Think about that Mark horse yesterday. It was atrocious cutting back. The Todd Pletcher horse. What's his name?
Up to the mark?
Yeah. And I just wonder if this is a horse that looked very promising to begin with. He's just kind of fizzled out a little bit. Now, I got him second because I'm not sure that opinion's right.
Maybe,
So I think he's pretty
as
good.
do I, but maybe he's just a one-turn horse.
Maybe he is. But yet Todd's running him here again. I mean, I think Winnett's dangerous in here. The problem with Winnett is he's another horse that doesn't get out of the gate, and we'll show his last race. Now, getting left last time actually helped him because it allowed Kendrick to sort of wheel him to the outside. He's the speed in this race, and if he breaks clean, see, I think if Winnett breaks clean in here, he might be the horse to beat because he's supposed to be in front.
There's not a lot of speed in this race.
Right.
I mean, I guess Eloquist, if Winnett doesn't break well, Eloquist.
No, St. Tappet. St. Tappett's quick. Are you kidding me?
Yeah, I guess.
You guess?
You think around, who do you think is more likely to go? Paco from a path
Irad's
in?
going from the outside,
Okay.
and Irad's also acutely aware that
Okay.
Winnett doesn't get out of the gate. And he is definitely thinking, if Winnett doesn't get out of the gate, I'm not making Kendrick's life easy. I'm going to the front, and he's going to have to come catch me. So I think Irad is very, very aware. You don't win as many races as Irad does, and you're not the Eclipse Award-winning rider unless you're very aware that he's got a horse that's the speed of this race that doesn't get out of the gate. And you know what? I think that guy training him knows it too, Todd Pletcher. He's pretty
I
sharp.
don't disagree. I'm just Eloquist has won 3 times. 2 of them have been virtually gate to wire.
He's got no chance. He doesn't have the speed that this horse has. This horse is fast, Eloquist. I mean, Eloquist could be aggressive, yes, with Paco, but if St. Tappet really wants it, Irad will be in
I
front.
don't disagree with that, but if you see a horse that's going to be 15 to 1 being aggressive,
But
aren't you just
that's not
going to
help.
off?
But that's not going to help Winnett either, because they're both going to get over on him. So, I mean, I think Winnett's dangerous because I think he's talented, but he can't get out of the gate, and he's kind of the last time was the time. The horse that's interesting to me is the horse on the rail, Be Better.
I don't know what to do with him.
And we'll show his dirt race before the Curlin. You know, I said it last time, and you know, as usual, the chorus of morons criticized me for it. That you had made a very good point about the bleeding in the non-Lasix,
He bled in the curling.
but he didn't bleed last time. He
It certainly don't seem
he's
that-
not a
seem
turf
that way.
horse. And Maggie said she didn't like him for the turf. So I don't think he's a turf horse. I don't think he ran terribly. I mean, he didn't run any
And
good.
he has a 351 Tomlinson on the turf.
But Todd's running him back into Discovery. So Todd must have. If Todd Pletcher thinks I can run him these races, and you know, I mean, it's not like he wants to send this horse out to have him bleed.
Well, the other thing is this.
He's not bad, this horse.
The other thing is this, and I think people.
That race we showed is pretty good. He can win this race off that race.
This time of year, it is much easier to keep a horse together, bleeding-wise, than Saratoga.
What about-
the heat and the humidity does not help the cause. So when it's 50 degrees, it's going to be a lot easier to stop a horse from hold the horse together from bleeding than when it's 90 degrees.
What about Naval Aviator? He's got some fast races.
He's got those 3 races, right? Yeah.
I don't think he's impossible in here. I don't think anybody in here, you know, stands out. And if you don't trust St. Tappet, we have him second, but I don't trust him.
I forgot he was second in the Keep Me in Mind race until I saw it.
Yeah, I know.
before.
I did too.
Yeah.
I did too. Yeah, I forgot that too. It's funny you say that. I was thinking the same thing. Race number 8. If we run it in the grass, it'll be the last turf race of the year. And here's Change of Control finishing second in Smart and Fancy, and she won this race last year, finishing ahead of Lady Edith. We have a very strong difference of opinion here.
We do.
I don't like the horse you have on top even a little bit. I think she's a complete pitch in here.
Wow.
I just think Change of Control is the horse to beat. She consistently runs well in these kind of races in the turf, and no reason to be really against her. She can be forward enough. I thought she was the one to beat. I picked her second. Lady Edith.
I think she's a cinch if it stays on the turf.
Yeah.
She's run 4 times for Christophe Collant. She got beat by Caravel twice, and Robin Swalkow's getting loose on the lead.
She got beat by this horse in this race. This horse finished well ahead of her. She made a ridiculous field last time. It's a completely uncompetitive field. The perfect trip. Yeah. I don't like her at all. I didn't think she made any sense in here
Okay.
whatsoever.
I'm gonna put your horse on
Good luck
top.
to her.
Came close.
Good luck. As far as my horse mail order, this is Junior. Junior has one job. Take a look at her last race. Just go to the lead.
Let's go.
Just send her, go to the lead. Speed's been doing well in this course. She is the fastest horse. If somebody else wants to go, she's faster than her and she should go. And I want to be forward. So I want 7s and 2s in here and a little 10. 7 2s and a little 10. I think Star Divine's not impossible. My problem with Star Divine is she can't win races this year. But she too can be forward. I think Jose can get her a little bit forward in here. And she's run well enough that maybe she'll just get, you know, she'll get the right things to fall for her. I thought it was 2, 7, and 10 for me. 7, 2, 10.
I did too with Lady Edith on top of him.
Yeah, I don't get Lady Edith
You
at
have
all.
one? Oh, the one's out. Never mind.
What
One scratch, guys.
One scratch, guys. My picks here are 7, 2, 10, 9. I have the 9 fourth. Now, no, that's the 9th.
That's our
race.
last race. So we're good.
We should talk about it a little briefly for the dirt.
Betsy Blue's going to be really tough, right?
Betsy Blue is much the worst to beat here. But we'll take a look at Betsy Blue, 2-back winning. You don't think, doesn't her last race bother you a little bit?
Of course.
You know,
Of course.
maybe she's a horse that got really good and maybe she tailed off a little bit. It
That
bothered me a little.
Iroquois was a weird race, though, right?
I don't disagree. I think speed had a real edge that day. I think it worked against her. and she's been so consistent. I picked her. I'm not against her.
Yeah. No, I know what
She's
you
the
mean.
horse to beat off it, but I don't like the fact that she comes off that loss. But
I
she
don't
comes
disagree.
back relatively soon.
Snicker got an amazing ride last time from Trevor McCarthy, blasting off from the inside.
Yeah, I don't see her winning this race. The horse that I think is interesting if the race comes off the turf is Hit the Woe. And we'll take a look at Hit the Woe breaking her maiden 2 years ago. And keep in mind, this is going to be a wet track if this race comes off the
And
turf.
it's going to be a wet track at Aqueduct just like this.
And
Yep.
this wasn't a ridiculous field she beat. The third horse, I think, came back to win in the dirt.
Dirt or all weather?
No, dirt.
You might be right.
Dirt.
I think she finished second to Latruska.
It's possible. John Thomas.
Yeah.
I think she's a very interesting horse if this race comes off the grass. She certainly has a better chance to win in the dirt, I think, than she did in the turf.
Agreed.
She's a little slow for these on the turf. I thought she was a little interesting. She's improved since then. I almost picked her on top if it comes off. I'm going to use 6s and 12s if this race comes
Okay.
off the grass. And finally, the one you've all been waiting for, race number 9. Trainer switch to Ned Howard.
Dude,
I'm going.
there's no chance you weren't picking this
No,
horse
I
in
actually
this
struggled
race.
with this
Yeah?
race. Yeah, this horse doesn't have to win.
I
We'll
almost
take a
picked
look
this
at
horse, too.
Willful Desire's last race at Delaware, finishing second. This is a switch from Gary Destin to Ned Howard. I wished I could have made a case for that 58-1 shot Ned Howard won with last week, but that was a hard horse to make a case for, and I tried. I really tried, but I couldn't. But I'm just going to take the trainer switch here.
I'll take the drop. You'll take the trainer switch. Yeah, it was a coin flip for me here.
Who'd you pick here?
I took Bella Michelle, just dropping down.
Okay, she seemed logical. I picked her second.
Yeah, I'm sure there's a lot of, I'm sure the turf last time, she doesn't really have any turf pedigree. I'm sure it was just a frustration move, and now they just realized that she's not a special weight horse, and they drop her in for the tag.
So Lady Shylock, she had a pretty nice work at the 2-year-old sale. She worked 10 flat. I thought she ran pretty well. We'll take a look at her 2-year-old sales work.
Dam had some production early on in her
She
career.
did. She did.
It's tailed off considerably.
Yes, that is also correct. They paid $50,000 for her. Worked what I thought seemed like a pretty reasonable 10 flat. Now they're dumping in for 30. And I don't think Rob's had that many first-time stars. He's 0 for 11 with first-time stars and dirt sprints, with only 1 hitting the board.
There's
That
only
bothered me a little
8
bit.
overall in the last 2 years. Total firsters.
No,
That's not a 5-year stat?
it's 1 for 8.
Yeah.
You said 8. Oh, he's only
8
run
overall.
8.
Yeah, he's only run 8 overall.
Okay, he's had a winner, but it wasn't in a dirt sprint. That I know. It was not a dirt sprint. But I agree, that horse worked okay, had a little bit of pedigree. I put Baby Socks in there. The 8 is scratched, guys. My picks in this race are 4, 9, 6, 1. 4, 9, 6, 1 are my picks. Baby Socks. Cameo is 9 for 57, 16% with first-time stars in the dirt, a 227 ROI. So that horse actually, that's a barn that's won some first race. He's been a little quiet, but he hasn't really started that many horses. Don't see a lot of Mark Valesky dams.
I was gonna
Who's the
say,
best?
he's gotta be the best one.
Who's the best Mark Valesky? It's having so much trouble.
The horse that broke his maiden closing weekend and won the Champagne.
Incorrect.
No?
Network Effect.
I was
They're
thinking
second
somebody
to
else.
Carter in the Met. Network Effect. You got a better Mark Valesky?
I got confused. The one-word name horse that won the Champagne. I thought it was him. I thought he was by Mark Valesky. I screwed up.
You mean Complexity?
Yeah.
No, it's McLean's Music. It was McLean's Music because I think that Karvich had the first 2 Grade 1 winnings. McLean's Music, Cloud Computing, and that horse. I want to say. Anyhow, McLean's Music is mostly known for doing what? What was his claim to fame?
114
The
buyer, I
highest debut buyer figure of all time. Unfortunately, he never ran a second
think?
time.
That was it. 114.
His dam, do you remember the story of his dam?
No.
His dam was that Michael Gill, Mark Schumann horse that broke her maiden by 18 lengths first out, and then less than 2 weeks later, they stretched her out. She ran at Laurel and ran the Breeders' Cup. She's at the 8th pole now. She ran last, but she ended up getting bought by Stone Street. And first time for Stone Street, and Steve Asmussen was the honorable miss, which she paid $10. And then, of course, Stone Street bred her, and they bred McLean's Music. But that was the first time they had her was in the honorable miss as a 4-year-old.
And that's the story of McLean's Music.
There you have it. Head over to Naira Bets. If you're not a member of Naira Bets,
Why?
no better time than the present. Use the promo code MATCH200. Go to NairaBets.com for more information. We'll match the $200 of your initial deposit.
American Revolution wants to know why.
Yeah, finally, with the help of Nick Tamaro, figured out it's American Revolution. We have middle pick 4 starts in race 3 of our 9-race card today. And amazing, there were the horse who ran second in the last race was one of the 2 horses not covered. In the pick 5 could have 389,000.
How they had the pick 6 yesterday?
Well, you know, somebody hit it. You know, it's random. I like when people said it paid less than the pick 5. I want to put my head to the wall when somebody says that. It's so dumb. Did not understand a finite pool and why that happens. It's one, whatever. Anyhow, Cigar Mile Challenge, $3,000 buy-in, all cash prizes. We will seed the pool with $5,000. Head on over to Naira.com/contests. Anthony, have a wonderful day. You guys have a wonderful day. It's America's Day at the Races, 12 to 6:30. Johnny I up next with a reprise of the scratches and changes.
For almost 150 years, the Saratoga name has been synonymous with the finest quality, sustainably sourced spring water available anywhere. Saratoga carries on the rich tradition of its forefathers by crafting each stunning blue glass bottle with the same attention to detail and care that has been its hallmark for generations. Visit SaratogaSpringwater.com today or ask for us by name at your local market or restaurant. Saratoga Spring Water. Make every day exquisite.